part 2 of the Piranha Super Mario plant. I will do some modifications though, since noticing from the other photo that the head needs to be a lot bigger than this one. So I'll just simply scale it and then complete it from there. So I'll make modifications at the back. So since this is centering object, set origin to geometry, okay, kind of made the pivot point at the center of the object. Let me scale it now to make it bigger. I don't know how big. Let's see. Maybe like that. Okay. And then I will simply reposition it. And I need to do modification to the back of it to kind of make that smaller. All right. So I will, since I have that selected at the back, I will do Control plus on the numpad to grow my selection. If you have emulated your numpad to be the numeric number 1 through 0 on the top, you can click the plus by the delete key at the top. All right, so I expanded my selection up to here. I'm going to leave that alone so that that becomes part of this right here. So now this one I'm going to scale, press S. But before I do that, let me turn on my screencast so you get to see what's happening with what I click. There we go. Now kind of shrink this to accommodate the new kind of stem and move that down a bit. There we go. All right, so this one is much bigger looking now. And maybe we can just scale it just a tad right there. Okay, so that one is done. I'm gonna save my file. All right, the other thing we talked about last time is that I forgot to give this some sort of curvature, because when I convert it to a mesh, I forgot to kind of make it sway a bit or whatnot. So we're gonna do that here. I'm gonna press tab to go to edit mode, and then I'm gonna click on edge mode right there, and I'm going to select, so let's say this one right here. I'm gonna alt click it. Okay, when I move this, it just goes by itself. So let's turn on a feature called proportional editing. So when you turn this on, the keyboard shortcut is O. So sometimes you accidentally press this and it'll drive you nuts, because what it is, it has an area of influence and whatever's inside that reticle get affected. So let me turn it on. Okay. And make sure you turn that off when you're done working. So I want to use a move tool, G. Okay, so I'm going to press G. When I do that, I get a reticle, so I can scroll my mouse to reduce or increase the area of influence. This, all right, and you can do this in real time. So right now I have G pressed, right? I mean, clicked. So if I move this, you can see it affects the area, not just that selection. But watch this, when I scroll my mouse, it grows the selection. So it's actually very interactive. So if you just want just that, as if you didn't have any proportional editing, I don't know why you would, but you can do that. So I'm going to go like that. Okay, and then click, left click to kind of finalize that. Keep in mind it's still on. So here, let me go right here. Okay, alt click, press G. I still have proportional edit on. Okay, and then I'm going to move that a little bit just right there. I think that's fine. Okay, I'm going to turn it off. Save my file. All right. Another thing, my assistant Gary gave me a photo of this one. This one turns to kind of like a base. Okay, so it has kind of like a little lump right here on the stem. So I'll do that by clicking that part right there, or whatever cut you have. Okay. All right, so it looks like it's at an angle right there because it's not flat. So let's make sure it's flat first. Okay, so I will scale that along the Z axis. So I'm going to do keyboard shortcut S, Z, 0. Then it goes flat. Okay, Just to prove that, I'm going to go to wireframe mode. I'm going to press number 1 or front. As you can see, it's right there. Okay. So you can flat or align things by simply scaling them. Okay, let me go back to the previous. I want to make sure this is at least touching that part of this pot. Okay. And then I will scale it. There we go. All right. I'm going to alt click this, move it up maybe a little bit. Okay. And then I will add Control R or loop cut right here on this vertical line. So then I get a horizontal cut. I'm going to scroll the mouse maybe just 2 times right there. Okay. And then it's asking where to position those. I'm just going to right click to move them back to its original position where it divides it into equal distance. Then right here, the loop cut, if it's not on, you click it on right here. And I'm going to try and do the smoothness right here to kind of bulge it. All right. That's probably fine right there. This one probably needs to go a little bit more, so I will do it manually. I'm going to alt click it, then press S to scale. And there we go. So now it kind of has like a little base right there. Okay. Again, this is still targeted as a low poly. Okay. Everything here is low polygon. The only thing I kind of added to add to the polygon smoothness look is this bevel from part 1. Okay. But it's still relatively low polygon. I added this in case you want to add a subdivision surface, which I will remove here. As you can see here, there's no subdivision surface and still looking pretty smooth. Obviously, you see the faceted jaggedness right there because the nature of, the number of polygons we use. But we're targeting that, and then we'll have the last option at the end to add subdivision surface if you want a high polygon look. All right. So this would be great for, let's say, depending on the engine, all right, for a video game low poly character. Okay, I'm going to turn on my wireframe right here just so that you could see that everything is a quad, everything. Okay, we can connect those, all right, or you don't have to. You can just leave them kind of in there, but let's try and connect one, all right. So let me just hide, and I have this thing on, right? When you don't want to see your wireframe like forced on a solid, okay, you can uncheck that. So I'll leave them on so you guys see what's happening. So this one right here, this leaf, I'm just going to hide it for now so it doesn't get in the way. The pot also, which we should actually start renaming. This is the pot. Or the pipe, it's because if you look at images for this character, it comes out on a pot like a brown pot or the Mario green pipe. Okay, so we'll just call it pot, and you can always recolor it and it becomes whatever it is. So leaf, this one is leaf 02. This one is leaf 01. Let me select the head. Okay, I already renamed that. Okay, we have the nerves pad right here. That's the one that we used originally. We don't actually need that anymore. I can delete it. Okay. Oh, never mind. I forgot to. It's not converted yet. So I think this one is still. Oh no, that's the one. Sorry, I apologize. That's actually the stem. It's not the nerves pad. I converted it to a mesh. Okay, so we should be good now. All right, so let me hide the plant head, the pot. So we're just dealing with this. So we're going to connect this too, right? I mean, that's really easy to do, except the issue here is that can you connect it in the correct position for your topology, right? So right here is where I want it. I think that's the correct angle for it. Okay, I'm gonna move it a little bit out right here so we could definitely see what we're doing. So first is I'm gonna go to edit mode, number 3, face mode right there. Select this inside and get rid of it. So X and then faces. All right. So what we want to connect is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, right? So here we just need to look for 6 sides. So this is a good spot right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we were going to use this, I'm gonna select those, press X, and then faces. So we got the same number of faces or points where they can be joined. Okay, so there are several ways to do this. We can just go low poly here and then just start kind of connecting what we need to connect here. Okay, or we can just create a bridge of faces. Okay, let's create the bridge of face because we do have, it's another exercise that we can do. Okay, so first thing is you cannot connect the two not unless you join them into a single object. So let's first do that. So select the stem, shift click the one of the leaf, right? And then Control J to join. You can also go to object and then join right there. It says command because I'm on a Mac, but it still works if you use control. So we got them connected. Now that they're connected, you can press Control J. Let me just kind of hide all these things that wasn't able to be saved from the last one. Now that they're joined together, you can hit tab and you have access to their sub-object, right? So their edits. So right there, we're going to have to kind of match those together. So we're going to do the bridge. So I'm going to select this, alt click it so I get the whole thing. And I'm just going to position it kind of like so, and kind of slightly rotate it. Okay, so they kind of look at the angle. All right, so now that they're joined together, I'm going to select this edge right here and this edge, press F right there. Okay, let me turn on screencast again. Okay, click this and that one and then press F. So you like bridging the polygons here. So instead, I mean, we could technically just grab that point and then merge it, you know, but this one at least it looks like it has a stem kind of really naturally growing from a branch from the stem right here. All right, so everything's still a quad. There it is. Everything match. All right. What can you do regarding making it flow a little bit more natural? I'm going to click on tab here. Maybe point mode right here. Drop that a little bit just so that it's not too kind of straight right there. It kind of curves a little bit. Same thing here. Since it's kind of, you know, I mean, it's supposed to be organic, so I'm not even in a proper angle right there, but you know, you can kind of eyeball that. Okay, as long as it's not too kind of weird or drastic. And even on this one, since if you want to spread it out just a little bit right there. Okay, or maybe here, drop those. Okay, totally up to you how you want to proceed with that. Okay, I'm going to save this one. All right, I'm going to do it for this one here real quick. So I'm not going to talk and explain since you guys already know it's the same thing as that. So just kind of watch. All right, so now I will just kind of position this point so they look a little bit more natural. So they didn't look like they were forced into kind of swerving or going into that position. Okay. All right, that should be fine. It's not supposed to be crooked. I don't know. It's a piranha plant, so I'll just move it like that. Or just leave it like this. I think it looks fine. Okay, now let's get rid of 3D wireframe. I'm in wireframe mode all the time, and then let's save it. Okay, so now it's one piece, and it's all still low poly. Okay, so let me right-click Shade Smooth. Okay, we might need to increase certain polygon count later on, but again, we're going for that low polygon count at first. Okay, let me move some points right here to kind of minimize that stretching in the shading. Okay, that's better. You can kind of still see the cut, you know, because that's what it looks like when it's all faceted. All right, and that kind of looks clean right there. So let me turn that off. All right, let me, since they're all combined now, all the other names for the leaf and whatnot disappeared. So we're just gonna simply call this stem. Okay, plant head, cylinder. Let's bring all this back now by turning on visibility. This is the pot. Okay, or the pipe, depending on where you're going. Okay. All right, so there we go. Oh yeah, I lost this one right here because of I have too many things going on and it crashed, which you should expect. So let me redo that real quick, even though you've seen it already. Remember that one where I flattened that? So SZ0 flattens it. I'm gonna scale it, move it up so that it's on the even if it goes in a little bit, it's fine. Right there, right? And then we selected that, move it up a bit. Control R, scroll the mouse twice. Increase the smoothness. We manually did this one by scaling it. All right, so we're back as if we didn't crash. Okay, so this one, let's take a look. Let's look for some weird anomaly right here. That's there. I can see one right here. It's all quad, but it's in the kind of like the wrong spot right there. It's dragged to way back. So I'm gonna select those three right there and just kind of bring those a little bit forward. Maybe that one a little bit forward. So it's not too. It's not kind of forced. All right. So some of this might be protruding a little too much. All right, let's just kind of bring that forward just a bit. All right, so it's not too crooked. And bring those up. Again, I'm not using symmetry right here because you know it's a organic. So, all right, that should be fine right now. Okay, I'm gonna save. And now we're gonna do the color. All right, so we're gonna go to shading, and I'm gonna do the shading outside the shading tab. Okay. Normally we do everything here because we're still doing just the color. All right, so I'm gonna go back to modeling, so you guys can see the difference when you work on outside that one, and the same things that we can do just in the property panel. Okay, so right now we have this 4 spheres. Okay, 4 spheres that represent, first is wireframe, the other one is solid, next one is preview mode, material preview. So if you add color to this, when you go back to solid, you're not going to see the color, you're only going to see it in material mode. And then finally rendered. Rendered is the final, this is what you'll get when you render a photo out of this. Okay, this is basically reality right here. So we're going to go to material preview right here, the third one. Okay, I'm going to select the pot right here. We're going to go to the materials tab. As you can see right here, it does not have a color. There's nothing. So we're going to click new. You can also click plus there and then click new. It's the same thing. So I'm going to click new. In Blender, we use principled BSDF. This is your PBR. This is all you need really, other than emission, you know. So this is what we need for even emission. You can use this for all our material, for almost all of our material. Okay, so the one that will affect this color is the base color. So I'm going to click that, then change that to green. Okay, Again, there's no lighting here, so this is no. There is lighting. It's based on an image, and it's pretty even lighting. You know, so that no matter where we kind of see, you kind of see all the highlights and whatnot. There's a shadow part, so you can preview that. But this is not reality. This is reality here. So we might need to make some adjustments later on once you have your lighting. But for now, let's make that a little darker. And then this roughness, make it rough, not too shiny. It's supposed to be a pot or a pipe combined. So depending on how shiny you want it, you can increase this roughness right here or decrease it to make it shiny, kind of like glass right there. Okay, we'll make it rough a little bit for now. Next, we're gonna click this one, and then we're gonna go with the stem and the leaf right here. So we can give this a new color, okay, or an existing color. So let's say we want this green right here, but just make it darker. So the exact same green. So instead of clicking new here, we're gonna click the drop down item right here, and then we're gonna see the previous material, which we should have named. So let's do that real quick. So this is the pot green. So we know what that one is, okay? So I'm going to select the stem. Instead of clicking new, I'm going to click the drop down. I'm going to select the same pot green. The problem with this, when you share the same material, if I make changes to this, the other one is affected as well. So we want to keep the green, we just want to make it darker. So you need to make this material unique now. So by clicking this, okay, it's like a new material with the existing setting. So if I click this, it renames it to 001, which makes it unique now. So I'm going to go rename this to stem green. It's exactly the same. But once we go here to the base color, make it darker, it separates itself from the pot. Okay. All right, so it's a different green now. This one might need a little bit more shininess. Okay. And we're gonna, since this is organic, we're gonna add a subsurface scattering. So this is that phenomena where you could see through kind of translucent masses, right? Your ear, the tip of your fingers, if you put it against a hard light like the sun, you can kind of see the blood inside and the translucency of the human hand or fingers, okay? So here, we're going to just drag the same base color to the subsurface color, okay? We can make this darker. So if this thing has blood, this would be red. So I mean, just for the sake of demoing, let me show you. We're going to make that thing red and bright, okay? And then once we drag the subsurface, as you can see, it starts showing some of that red, okay? And there it is. So it looks like steamed vegetable at this point, okay? And then there you go. So now it's super translucent that it's showing none of the skin outside. It's just what's inside. Okay, so I guess you get the point there a little bit. We'll explore that some more some other time. So but for now, make that kind of green right there. Make it kind of darker green. So it gives it that kind of translucent effect. And I'm in Eevee, by the way. So, okay, I'm going to turn on Ambient Occlusion here. Reflection and some bloom here so that we could start seeing that. All right, there we go. So it has that kind of translucent, kind of like cheese-like, all right, or vegetable-like, and you can increase that to make it a little bit more translucent. Okay, I think that's okay for now. Okay, so let's go with this one again. So again, if you're in wireframe mode, if you're in solid mode, even though you added that color, this is where people freak out. Hey, I added all that color when I switch to shading or other, it goes away and it's perfectly normal. Same thing when I first started with Blender. It's like, you know, it doesn't retain the, it doesn't carry over. Okay, so now with preview, that's where you see it. And then the last one, reality. Okay, so it's great to work in preview because you can really see what's happening. The lighting is pretty spread out evenly. Okay, so that's fine right there. Kind of disturbed by this now that it's this green color. Maybe this should even be darker for the pot. I don't know. Well, we need to look at Super Mario pot color. So that's why probably sometimes you see this as a as the brown pot, so that it doesn't really kind of just mix in with the with that one. Well, maybe put it back to the lightness that it was. Okay, so now let's take a look at the head. Let me save. Okay, so for this one we're going to have multiple color. Okay, so I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to go to face mode. I'm going to take a look at this and all the separation we need. All right, so first thing is that it will have a red inside, slightly lighter, with subdivisions, with subsurface scattering, of course. We're going to have to add the teeth and white lips, red here. We're going to make textures in UV with polka dots, and then green on this one. So let's first select the parts that needs to be whatever it is that needs to be. Okay, so first is that we're going to go with a green pot right here. So I'm going to add a material to it. That green stems are not green pot, stem green. Okay, changes the whole thing. All right, which is fine. That's what we want. All right, and then we're going to start adding other color for the other parts. So that's the one right there. So I'm going to add a new color, and then say new, click new, rename this. This will be the red polka. Okay, which we'll add the dot later on. We're gonna give it a base color of red. Okay, really bright red. So now we're going to select the parts that needs that. So I'm going to number 3 right here. Okay, face mode. Alt click this part. Shift alt click. Did I lose my? Yeah. Okay. Alt shift click that line right there, so it just adds to the selection. Okay, now that that's all of that is selected, I'm going to go to red polka right here, click assign, and that becomes red. Okay, so now let's start selecting the inside right here. So with that one, actually let's make this easier. So I'm just going to select, shift click, make sure you don't have anything selected in the back. Okay, and then we're going to do Control plus on the numpad or your alphanumeric if you have emulation numpad. Okay, it just grows the selection when I click Control plus. All right, there you go all the way. Yep, right there. So if you accidentally went over, you can just hit the minus and it'll retract it. So this is another selection here. Okay, I'm going to click plus. Okay, I'm going to call this one. This is the tongue, all the inside, the gums and whatnot. We're just going to call tongue red so that we know that's a tongue red. And let's give it a red color. Okay, and a sign. All right, so that's the one for it. And we need for sure some subsurface scattering. So I'm going to click and drag this base color inside right here, make that a little darker. Okay, and then we can increase that one so we could see it. It's kind of hard to see here. I'm going to click on tab to go to object mode. Okay, so comparing this one and that one. And maybe not as, there we go. So it has a little bit of a kind of translucency in there. Okay. I'm going to add another color. Of course, this one is going to be the lip, and it's going to be white. We're just going to leave that as how. So lips white. Okay, we go back here. I select, alt click this, shift alt click. Okay, I'm adding all those. And I could have hit the center also and then Control plus, that would have done the same thing. Okay, now all the lips selected, click assign, there we go. Save, and we're almost done. Okay, so coloring wise, we are done with this. Low poly piranha Super Mario plant. Okay, so now let's go to our UV edit. So we need to create the polka here. All right, so let's go to our texture paint. Okay, what we want to work on is the red polka, so I'm going to select that right there. Okay, and that's the section that we're going to worry about since it's isolated on that one, right? We can also hide our stem pot. Okay, so that all we're seeing is this one. All right, before we can do that, let's go to our UV edit and prepare this to be painted. Okay, so because if you don't paint, if you don't prepare this one, I mean, it started as a sphere, but it'll kind of look weird. So UV editing. All right, and we only want this part right here. So I mean, later on we're going to do vertex color groups and whatnot, so you just click that and you always get it selected, but let's not overcomplicate this lesson. So Alt click, Shift Alt click, and let me turn on screencast. Well, reactivate it because it sleeps. Okay, so now let's take a look. So Blender thinks it's this kind of weird kind of formation right here. It's almost ready though, so let me just kind of look where these things are. Sorry, so this is the one kind of in question. It just kind of went inside out and whatnot. Okay, so and it this one kind of traveled. Yeah, because it doesn't have any there we go. Actually, let me see. Yeah, it went all the way around, but not in a kind of cylindrical. All right, so let's unwrap it. Okay, so I'm gonna click undo till I get the selection. So if we just unwrap this as is with the selection before, press U and then unwrap. Okay, nothing really wrong with this except we need to paint it properly. Okay, so what I'll do with this is I'm going to select everything here, press A, and then I'm going to scale it so that it maximizes the square aspect map that we have. Okay. All right, so that's unwrap. A little bit more. All right, just kind of being safe that we're not outside the map area. All right, so that's our UV, so then we can just paint on top of this. You'll see the polka dot. All right, so now that the UV is set just for this part, we don't need any UV for this and that and the inside since we're not going to texture. It's just this part right here. Okay, let's go to texture paint and then let's have a crash course here. Make sure that you have the material that you set for that part that you want to paint to be here, to be selected. Okay, right now Blender is reporting there's no material on this one. Okay, so it says no texture. What do you want to make on this one? So we want to make a base color. So I'm going to click plus, base color. Then it's going to ask us for, that's the name. We could actually leave that name. It's pretty good. The red polka base color. Okay. What is the size? So depending on if you're working on games, this is dictated by what you plan to do, or, you know, what your game director or your with your texture artist, what you can apply. So usually for something that's just an NPC that's repeated throughout the scene, it's quite small. But for us, it's all visual, right? So we can probably leave this as 1K, but just for the purpose of, you know, so we get a nice texture, we're going to increase that. It's probably overkill, right? So in order to make this into 2K, you don't need to know the doubling of this. You could actually double it using operations. So if I click here and I type in asterisk or multiplication, right? The asterisk and then 2. When I press enter, it doubled it for you. So if you want 4K, you simply type in times 4. All right, so it's a 2x2. The color is what the red polka is. So that's just going to go in there. We don't need an alpha. All right, alpha channel or transparency. Okay, I'm going to click OK. All right, so it added that. So if we actually go to shading right now, just to show this to you, okay, it made this red polka, which is just straight up red, plugged in. Remember, this used to be, well, I don't want to unplug it now because I'm working on the texture paint, but it used to be that red selection. Remember, you have the color selection here, but not anymore. Okay, texture paint, go back here. So now I can paint that red color, I mean that white polka. Okay, so now it's actually ready. I have the white color right here, and I have the brush and whatnot. So I have the draw brush. This is soften, smear. This is to clone stamp it. This is to fill bucket. All right, that's your masking, which part doesn't get affected. We don't need to mask anything because it's all separate color, right? So if I go right here now and I'm gonna paint it, all right, so if I go like so, probably the worst idea to do, and then as if you painted it right there. Okay, so I'm gonna click undo. So how can we make this thing where it doesn't have any soft edge and whatnot, right? So can you paint here? Of course you can, right? So you can change your radius and your strength. F to change the radius. Okay, so if I go here, just click one click. There's the dot. It's probably showing on the other side. It looks like more like a blush on makeup. All right, so we're gonna need to work on that one, okay? So I'm gonna go here to stroke, change that to make sure it says dots, so it's just making dots. So stroke, dots. I'm gonna scroll my mouse here. Next one is fall off. We don't want any fall off. That's a soft edge that you get. We're gonna click on this preset, which is sharp edge. Okay, you see that one? Okay, so as you can see here, why does it not look like a circle right here? Because that's based on the projection. Remember, this is not really a flat one. It's just the UV is projected to it. So if you decided to, let's say, go like this and then click this one, it looks correct right there, but in reality, that's a stretch. You see it? All right, so you can also paint here. It doesn't guarantee that it's a circle because this is a projection, unwrapping of it. All right, so the best way to do this, and there's a varying size, is when you paint right here, make sure you're almost flat on your viewing. All right, so like here, if I go here, that's pretty much a circle. Okay, we get a circle. Why is there kind of bump? Remember, it's low poly. Because see, that's where it kind of jumps on that one, but it's, you know, it's just the low polygon nature of it. Okay, so I'm gonna click undo. I'm gonna lower my brush radius, and then I'm gonna do the size first. Okay, so if you want, let's say here, like half circle. All right, as you can see, it's showing you over there what's happening. Okay, maybe I want a half circle right there at the end. Okay, flat on the screen. Oh yeah, don't zoom in. If you zoom in, that you resize the brush. Okay, just kind of populating this. I don't know really the pattern for these piranha plant, but I don't think that's too bad. All right, right now I'm going to press F right here, increase the size, so now we have 2. All right, that's one right there. Maybe here. I don't think I like that. Okay. Nope. Okay. Is that too kind of weird pattern? Maybe. Oh, one more. Okay, so that should be good enough. I'm gonna zoom out here. All right. Need more variety? Yeah. All right, you start seeing that on preview. I don't know how good that will look. We're using 2K. From a distance, it's fine. Okay. Now let's say we're happy with that. Yeah, it looks like chicken pox, kind of. All right, so let's say we're happy with that one. This are showing as purple because there's no map, so that's how texture painting preview it. So let's save this. Very important you save this. There's an option to save on your exit, but don't expect this image to be saved if you're just saving Blender, okay? So we actually need to go here, image, and then save a copy. We're gonna leave it as a PNG. We're gonna call it red polka base color. I'm gonna dump it on my pictures folder where all the elephants go and they die. All right, so pictures. All right, no compression. It's tiny, so it's fine. Save. I'm going to say Blender. So next time you manipulate this, you have to save, overwrite it. Okay, remember that one. There's an option to save on your exit, but you don't want to rely on that feature. All right, so that's done. Let's see. Let's turn on. Let me go to modeling. Hit tab to go to a preview. Pot stem. Okay, there it is. All right.